do is you got to get him to file a lawsuit. Now, if he's in jail and he can't handle it for himself, then what you can do with your sovereign capacity is you can go for habeas corpus. You can file a habeas corpus in the name of another. That's in the procedure.
What they've done is put a gag order on the family, and any time that he speaks of it, they put him back in jail.
Sure.
And this is,
Yeah, but that gag order does not apply to lawsuits.
the gag order applies to the family as well as to the victim.
Then what they have to do is appeal that order, or file an original lawsuit, which means they'd have to learn common law and so forth. Look, the law does not protect he who slumbers on his rights, and it doesn't count.
But
It doesn't count. There's no buts.
many of the judges are family related.
Yes.
And they do have incestuous relationships
Yes.
within the courts.
Yes, but who's complaining? And I mean complaining, legally complaining. It doesn't, you can't just talk about it. You've got to actually put some muscle behind it. Or take it to a grand jury and have the grand jury make a presentment.
They have their people in the grand jury.
I'm sure they do. Yeah, if you've ever watched the procedures. Which, by the way, let me mention something about grand juries. You know, look, there's a difference between morality and law, okay? And obviously there's power there that's being abused. Obviously there's power being used to protect the judges themselves from their own criminal acts. So you have to go outside that system. Maybe it calls for a federal type thing, and sometimes they're in bed with each other too. So, you know, I'm not saying it's a perfect system. Sometimes you have to just say, well, I can't fix that problem, move on to one you can fix. You know, you cannot change the ship of state. What you can do is affect it by degrees. See, a big ship does not suddenly turn. It goes half a degree at a time, slowly, and ends up in a new direction. That's what we're doing here. You know, if a robber has you in the alley, he's got a gun on in your ribs, and he says, "Give me your money." You give it to him, and he's wrong. You don't stand there and say it's against the law, his mother won't approve, and so on. You've got to, but what you do is once you let go, once he lets you go, then you move heaven and earth to try and get even. But if you can't find the power to do that, sometimes you just have bad luck. As Kennedy said, life is unfair. Yes, sir.
Wouldn't it be possible that one way to operate would be to file a civil RICO, a federal lawsuit?
Well, you have to be the injured party.